I started with magazines. I had a magazine called Shifter Card Illustrated, and all we covered was shifter kart racing. And then I moved on and added a magazine called Speedway USA. That was for dirt karting. And then there were some people that were in the Formula Car world that said, hey, we need something like Shifter Card Illustrated, but for us. So I started Formula Car. So I had 3 magazines going at one point. I actually didn't start e-karting news. I had the magazine, Shifter Card Illustrated, so I was a magazine guy. Of course, websites were so new and kind of raw and tough to kind of put together, a lot of coding. I didn't have that knowledge. Well, somebody started ekartingnews.com, and they did a great job for the first couple years, but it was so tough to make money back in that, those days, trying to figure out how to monetize it. There was 3 guys. They had an editor, they had a coder, and they had a marketing guy, and they were all trying to survive off of just the one website. I ended up buying it when they came to me and said, hey, listen, we can't do it, but it would fit good into your program. Well, it already fed in to my business. I had the core competencies already there. I had accounting, I had editorial sales, I had editorial, I had a staff. So it just fit so perfectly into what we did. We kind of evolved e-karting news into that, the immediate news story, and the magazine was still around for another 4 or 5 years afterwards, and that had all the, that was the archive of human interest stories and a lot of stuff. So it really worked well together. I was very lucky when I started Shifter Card Illustrated because there was a gap. There was a couple magazines, but they were more focused on the technical side. There were some human interest stories, but nobody was doing a racer-style magazine. And that's really what I wanted to do. Racer and Racer X, the motocross magazine, were my two that was my benchmark. I want to be like these guys, this level of photography and really great articles. And I went to the industry. I had $28 in the bank. And I ended up getting 11 guys. If you advertise with me for 7 issues, and it was $700, I'll give you that rate for the rest of your time with me. Well, I had 11 guys say, yeah, we'll do it. So I had $7,700. I think I spent probably $700 getting it built because I didn't know how to lay a magazine out. So I went back to the guys that I worked for at Performance Racing News. They had started their own magazine, a new one. They laid it out for me, and that was my first issue. And I was essentially, it was all prepayment, and I lived off the money that came in. I worked my tail off, and away I went. Well, you know what? I paid for it first. I worked with these guys first. Then I hired a guy to come in and lay the magazine out. I'd spent back then. It cost me $4,000 for my first computer because it was so crazy back then, Corel Draw, and I think I was using PageMaker, Adobe PageMaker back then, right? That was what we used. And I just sat back and watched it. I watched what he did and learned, and eventually I did it myself. So there was a time when I wrote everything. I had a friend that would come to the races with me and take pictures. When we actually took, film pictures. And we would roll the dice, and we'd do 20 rolls, and I'd go to the local store and pay $5 to print them, and we'd scan them ourselves, and it was raw. We were just learning, but I didn't waste any more. I didn't skimp on the money on the paper itself. It was 70-pound paper. It was a quality magazine, and nobody else was doing that. And it was a lot of late nights. It was every issue was at least one overnighter, sucking back the coffee. I would go to the printer on every form to make sure the page registration was right. It was a passion for me. To have that product, that magazine that was mine, was amazing. I had a lot of great people, of course, to help sell advertising and be at the track. But the first couple of years, it was just me, and the staff we had in accounting. That was it. Well, I think you'll see that. You've obviously talked to a lot of people. This is kind of my social life. When I'm home, I'm in the office all the time. I have some friends at home, but not many. My family's out here on the road. So I had some friends, but of course I work so much that I was up all night. I couldn't wait to get to the next racetrack to see all my friends at the racetrack. That really, I think a lot of us here in the paddock, this is kind of our family when you're on the road. It's a traveling circus, as we call it, right? We can't wait to get back to the track to see our family.